So my name's Alistair Doyle and I am the curate assistant here in St. Nicholas's Church in Galway City. And I grew up in Dunleary though, and yeah, spent all my childhood there and loved it because the pier in Dunleary, Killiney Hill, these were my playgrounds. All the ancient ruined churches that were around the area, they were my, every day was an adventure going somewhere. My mum and dad, I suppose you'd describe them as a baby boomer generation. So they moved into the newly built suburbs in South County Dublin in the early 1960s. I was born in 1964. So I grew up in a housing estate where there was, on our road, there was 33 houses. And at one point, about 140 children on that one road in that housing estate. So it was, you know, it was full of energy and lively. Every day was cowboys and Indians and, you know, pretending to be playing war out in the green and out on your bikes and tennis in the summer, conquer season, all of these things. Every day was filled, you know, you're never bored.
How was school?
Well, school I found challenging, to be honest. I mean, I initially started at a primary school very close to home, but in those days it was, you know, not everybody had a car and it was awkward to get to. So my parents moved me to a smaller school out in Shankill, Rathmichael Primary School, which was part of the, under the patronage of the Church of Ireland and the Rathmichael Parish Church. A very small school that we had like a bit similar to St. Nicholas's here in Galway, 2 classes in each classroom, which in fact was a parochial hall divided up into 4 spaces for the infants. First and second class, third and fourth, fifth and sixth class were actually on the stage of the hall. So it was good because we were few in number, so we knew each other well, and that was exciting. Secondary school was very disjointed because I went to 3, and you know, as you move on, I never really had friends that, because I was always moving on. Although I do have still a couple of close friends from school, but not in the great numbers that other people might have had. Faith has always been part of my life. I grew up in a home where my parents were Church of Ireland, and you know, we always say that you know, you end up staying in the faith tradition generally that you were born into. So I was, you know, we were the only Protestants in the village, so to speak, and you know, so church attendance every Sunday was part of it. But I suppose, again, it was the church we went to was quite small, a very close community, and so it was just part of my life, and I really loved it. I loved going to church. I was always questioning God and saying, you know, what is the purpose? What am I here for? What do you want me to do? Why am I here? What am I to learn? You've given me these gifts. What am I to do with them? And it was only later in life that I really got the sense of what it was all about and what God's purpose for me was. So you could say there were many moments on the journey, and like I only came into ministry sort of 10 years ago as a lay minister initially, and then into ordained ministry. And so my lay ministry was with children and children's ministry, and then later I fully trained for ordained ministry. That takes 3 or 4 years, and then I was ordained a deacon, and then following that ordained into the priesthood. So I am now the curate assistant here, so I'm the assistant priest to Linda, who is the rector in charge of the parish.
Passions and hobbies?
The one activity I'm probably, people recognise me for is my skateboarding. I love skateboarding. I ride around town on an electric skateboard when the weather permits. And the reason is because I can do it, first of all, and that I suppose it, you know, almost 60 years old, it's great to be able to do it, and it just gives me great joy and freedom, and you know, as I ride around, I sing my head off, and people must be looking at me going, look at that old lad on the skateboard, you know, and so it's fun, yeah.
Can you remember the last time you were truly happy?
Well, I'm happy right now, and I think every day I'm happy. I mean, like everyone, there are times of sadness and times of sorrow, but generally I'm happy all the time, and part of it is because of my faith. And I have a favourite verse in Scripture, which is from St. Paul's letter to the Philippians, and Paul says, "Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say rejoice. Let your gentleness be known to all. The Lord is near." And I suppose that is that rejoicing. It was, I suppose, when I realized that every day is a gift from God. And there's a song that I love by the Gettys, Kirsten and Keith Getty, and it's called "My Heart is Filled with Thankfulness." And one of the lines in there is, "For every day I have on earth is given by the King." And I think once you realize that it is a gift from the King, it's hard not to be happy. Because, you know, we just get this one opportunity, and so we've got to embrace it. So I'm happy.
Lovely, beautiful, Alistair. Can you remember kind of like the proudest moment or proudest memory?
Well, I suppose the birth of my children is up there. It's just, it's a miracle, and to witness those miracles and to watch them grow and mature, is every moment is filled with pride. When you see their individual characters develop, and the skills and the attributes and the gifts that they have, it's a source of great pride.
Do you have any regrets in life?
I guess not really. You know, when I look back, I mean, what has happened in my life has happened, and you know, there were sometimes some things in my life that I'm not proud of, some things that happened I wish perhaps maybe hadn't. But from everything I've learned, and from everything, you know, as I look back on my life, you know, I just considered that they were part of what's made me who I am today. And you know, you can't change the course of what's happened, so you just have to accept it. And you know, if you made a mistake, the mistake's made, but then, you know, we're in the business where mistakes are forgiven, and so you just accept that, you know, your life, you made the decisions you made, you took the actions that you took, and you know, provided that you know, things have, you know, worked out the way they worked out, and you've learned from it. Well, that's the best you can expect. You can't change, you can't undo it, you know.
If you could give one small piece of advice to young Alistair, small Alistair, what would that be?
I'd probably say, like, you know, hang in there. Everything's going to be all right. Everything will turn out right. You know, when I was 12, my parents separated, and I was the eldest of 3 children, and it was hard, and I found it difficult to process. And so my early teenage years were quite troubled. And you know, if I was able to go back and say, look, you know, this isn't the end of the world. Things will get better, and you've no idea. You've got a great adventure ahead of you. You're going to meet some fantastic people. You're going to have wonderful children. You're going to have a beautiful wife who loves you dearly. You know, it would just be to give myself reassurance, really, and say, look, you know, when there are the times where you're going to think, is anything ever going to happen for me? And it will, and it does. Yeah.